So did it ever happen to you that you've tried to model a set of Blender, but apparently some weird artifacts are just happening here and there and you don't know how to fix them? And in this video I'm going to show you how to avoid them and how to fix them if you stumble across them. My name is Benjamin and I'm a self-taught 3D artist. Now let's get back to the video. So the first mistake is wrong scale consistency. And what do I mean by this? Check this out. So if I try to bevel this edge, as you can see, it bevels very weirdly. It can be easily explained why. If you go to the property panel, press N, go to transform and check the scale. As you can see on the X axis, it is scaled up to 4.144 and the Y axis it is 2.625. And that's exactly why it is beveling so weirdly. So first let me show you why it happens and then I'm going to show you how to fix it with ease. It happens mostly because you're trying to scale your object in object mode. So if I try to, let's say, scale this like this inside of object mode and go check the properties once again, we can see that the scale number increased. However, if I scale this inside of edit mode, no matter how much I scale it, the properties will stay the same. And that is precisely why it is beveling so weirdly. And so the best way to fix this is just simply choose the object, press Ctrl plus A, and then just press scale. And boom! Now all of your scale numerics is exactly 0.1, and if you try to bevel this time, it bevels completely normal. Now the second mistake that I want to talk about is normals facing the wrong way. So what do I mean by this? You probably had some times when your cube kind of looks off. And if we compared it to a normal cube, you can actually see that this one looks normal, but this one kind of looks off. You probably know what I mean, right? This one looks darkened, this one looks better. Why does it look like that? Is there some reason behind it? Believe it or not, yes. So if we choose both of these cubes and go to edit mode, we press in mesh edit mode and go to display split normals, we can see that in this case, normals are facing correctly. They're facing outwards. However, in this case, it is facing inwards. And if I delete this face, we can easily see that it is faced inwards, not outwards, the same way it is facing here, right? Now, first, let me show you why it happens. If this time you decided to scale not in object mode, but in edit mode, let's say scaled on x-axis. And here's what happens. So you scale it too thin and accidentally made it go -1 on a scale metric. And so what it simply did, it just put all of those normals and flipped them inside out or outside in. So is there a way to see it faster? Yes, just go here to overlays and just press in face orientation. We can see that it is completely red, and in this case it is completely blue, meaning the normals are facing outwards, which is the correct way, and in this case the normals are facing inwards, which is incorrect. So the way to fix this is just press A, Alt plus N, and then choose flip. It flipped it up normals from in to out. Now let's say some of your part is still red. The reason why is because before that, this part was blue and that part was red. So essentially what flip does, it just makes the red goes blue and blue goes red. But we don't really want this. We want every single face, every single normals to go from red to blue. And if it's blue, we want to just stay blue, right? What we do is just press recalculate outside. So instead of flipping the in and out and out and in, you just make every single normals flip from inside to outside. And if something is still facing outside, then it will keep it that way. Or what you can do is simply, instead of going Alt plus N, you can just press Shift plus N. And in this case, it pretty much does the same. Now, the third mistake is incorrect shading. And what do I mean by this? You probably tried to shade smooth your object, but it just looks kind of off, as if you're looking into the void, right? Just all of the sharp edges are gone. And if we go to the mesh edit mode and press in display split normals, we can see that every single normals are facing the same direction. However, when it was in shade flat mode, you can see that they're all facing in different directions. And so for this problem, we have two different solutions. Number one is auto and fast, and number two is manual but more precise way. And I'll show you both of them. So the first one is the auto and fast way. What you just do is right click, and instead of shade smooth, we press on shade auto smooth. And what it does is automatically smoothens out every single face that is less than 30% angle. And if let's say this is 90%, right? So 30% would be something like this. In this case, we can see that this angle is definitely 90%. However, these ones are definitely less than 30. So essentially, it just fastens your workflow. Now, the second, manual, precise, but kind of slower way is using the mark sharp. So you go to edge select mode, select the necessary edge loops, right click and go mark sharp. And as you can see, it pretty much did the same as the auto smooth, but instead this time you just tell to Blender, hey Blender, the edges that I've marked as sharp, you just simply sharpen them up, and the rest of them you just smoothen. That's what it does. And more interesting thing about this is we can choose any edge and sharpen it. Isn't that cool? So if we choose, let's say, this edge and I press mark sharp, we can see that now this one is sharp, but the rest of the part seem very smooth. This actually can be very useful in many occasions. Alright, now let's talk about the fourth and last mistake that most beginners do, which is when they apply a subdivision or any kind of modifier. Let's say they got a cube and they subdivide it 3 times, right? And then they just press this button and apply it. And then they're trying to work with this really hard topology. And so what you can do instead is not apply it and work with basic shapes. What do I mean by this? If I choose these faces and then move it up, it makes this cube stretching it out and subdivide it at the same time. We can actually use this a lot of times to get any kind of possible shape that we kind of want. And so for this, the only thing that I can say is apply only when your work is done. Or what you can do is basically duplicate the same object, right? One of them you hide, and on the other one, you just simply apply. And then let's say you completely messed it up and you want to bring it back. What you can do is basically go back to that duplicated cube that you still got, and it is still waiting for you right there, hidden in between the shadows. Alright, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you have some questions, feel free to comment down below. And by the way, I have a free community. The link is in the description, and I'll see you around.